Test 1 2. Test 1 2. How's that sound? Hmm? Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1.
Yep, you're good.
I'm good?
It just takes a second to come through.
Yep.
But you're good.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
You can mute that and then you're good to go.
Yep. Well, good evening, hockey fans, and welcome to Cape Breton here in Member 2 at the Member 2 Sport and Wellness Center for today's Nova Scotia Under 16 AAA matchup between the host Cape Breton Jets and coming all the way from St. John, the St. John Vitos. And while they're sharing the ice here today, it's a matchup of teams in two completely different situations here so far early in this U16 hockey season. The St. John Vitos are the last undefeated in regulation team here this season in the league. They sport a 6-0-2 record going into this evening's matchup. Meanwhile, the Cape Breton Jets have been on a slide recently. They have lost 7 straight games here with a 2-9-0 record total, including last weekend 2 losses to the Vitos in Quispamsis, New Brunswick, where the Vitos beat them handily by 10-3 and 6-2 scores. Well, thank you for joining us this afternoon on High Button Sports. My name is Luke Diamond, and it's a pleasure to be with you for this evening's matchup here in Member 2 at the Member 2 Sport and Wellness Center. The Cape Breton Jets hosting the St. John Vitos. St. John vying for a first place berth in this league if they were to win today. They're the last undefeated team in regulation in the Nova Scotia Under-16 AAA Hockey League, while the Jets are trying to fight their way out of the 12-team league's basement here. And starting for the St. John Vitos, Luca Riva, he heads into this game with a 3-0-1 record, picking up a win, including last week in Quispamsis, as puck is covered up by our other starter in the Cape Breton Jets net, Daniel Levat. Levat is 1-4-0. Although he has been one of the league's busiest goalies, he has faced 243 shots in his appearances so far, as a Vito takes a tumble in front of the net there, and covering up again is Levat. Just an example of how busy he has been so far this year. The only other goaltender in the league to face as many shots as him is his teammate Calix Tornitis, who is watching from the bench for the Jets here tonight. Battle for the puck over to the right of the goaltender, Levat, as it goes on down into the corner. Held in at the line, though, by a Vito. Sutter McQuaid playing that right defensive point there for the visitors. It swung around there into the corner and knocked on back down again. Taking that check was Lee for the Jets, their top scorer. As it comes back the other way, they'll go for a rush. And breaking the check briefly for a second there was Cashin Morrison of Cape Breton. Now coming back the other way, flipped on into the zone, Alexander Daigla. He goes in 1-on-2 there against a couple of Jets players, and swung back up the boards, and picking that up going the other way is Travis Smith-McNeil. And that is handed on in there up to his teammate, but the Jets lose control with the Vitos taking it back there. And a player goes down there into the corner. It was a heavy hit there thrown on the offense by Matt Phillips, wearing 27 in blue. And Phillips had the puck in his feet there on just a missed scoring chance. He's the captain for this Cape Breton Jets team. And now going down into the corner is Trip Livingstone, wearing number 19 for the Vitos here. Livingstone has 12 goals and leads the league in that category so far. He is an absolute sniper for this team. As there is a collision over at center ice in front of the penalty boxes. Some audible roars from the crowd, and shaken up there is the Jets player Alex Cutler. He went in there against the boards on Livingston. And it looks like we're going to have our first power play of the evening in favor of the Cape Breton Jets. It looked like an awkward collision there. It's showing 5 minutes on the board here. And we may have an early game misconduct here. We'll just see. It's showing number 6 on the board, Maxime McKinnon for the St. John Vitos. And it looks like it'll be a 5-minute power play for the Cape Breton Jets here. An early opportunity here for a team that has been struggling to fill the net, as it is shot down the length of the ice by the St. John Vitos. Heavy on the forecheck there on the penalty kill is Jacob Greeley, wearing number 20 for the Jets, for the Vitos. But the Jets come back down the other way, and that is gloved by Luca Riva in the Vitos net. Now the score clock is showing number 6 for the St. John Vitos, with the penalty. That's Maxime McKinnon. If he is indeed gone for the game, that's a huge loss for the Vitos. As it's a great maneuver in by the net. Skating right in was Hudson Crawley, who almost struck with a power play goal there, but it's an excellent save from Riva to keep this one scoreless. Maxime McKinnon, who was out of this game on the penalty, he's a top scoring defenseman in the league. So not having him today would be a big loss. There's a couple of shots and chances there for the Jets, but it skips on over to the corner and play continues. Going for a skate with this around the net is Parker Lee. He's their top scorer with 9 points in this season for Cape Breton. McDonald for the Jets throws it in behind the net, but nobody's home, and the backhander is scooped on down the ice by Tennyson Godin of the Vitos, and both teams will make a change. 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in this 5-minute major penalty to Maxime McKinnon of the St. John Vitos. They haven't announced here at the Member 2 Sports and Wellness Center what the penalty was for. It looked like there was a stick involved, though, just from watching the play, as covering up is Levat, Daniel Levat, for the Cape Breton Jets. The face-off will be to his right here. Taking that draw on the offense is Daigla for the Vitos, and he'll get it caught up in his feet, but instead loses the face-off to Parker Lee. Now come down the other way is Isaac Ward, wearing number 77, curls to the left side of the ice, but is quickly intercepted, and back down the other way again is the Vitos, killing off this penalty efficiently as they get just under the 3-minute mark in this early major penalty. 15:52 left on the clock here in the first period. No score yet. A couple early opportunities here for the Jets. Cross ice pass as it is fluttered up in the air by 22 for the Jets. That being Sidney Pemberton on defense. He's going to fork it up to Andrew Penny, wearing number 21. He's an affiliated player for the Jets here tonight. Trying to find through traffic with Stéphane LeBlanc going in deep with the puck. Cross ice along the blue line, fluttered in by Pemberton and padded away there by Riva. And down the ice once more for the Vitos. 2 minutes left on this major penalty as the Jets goaltender Daniel Levat will cover up once more. He's had to cover up quite a few times here in the first 5 minutes of this hockey game. And although the Jets have had their shots, they haven't been able to do much on the power play opportunities other than some one-and-done opportunities. That's off a set of shin pads from a Jets player, but the Vitos keep it in. Back into the corner is Jake Arbeau. Quickly taken away once more by the Jets and going for that stretch pass the other way, right on net. That is padded off into the corner by Riva. Some maneuver there by Foss Francis McDonald for the Jets. But again, the team will lose it, and they're back down the other way. And here comes Livingston. He's going to knock him down. Livingston, the goal scorer, sets up his teammate out front. Oh, what a stop there by Levat. Saved a potential shorthanded goal there as Noah Cormier of the Vitos came in threatening to score, and he went to the backhand and couldn't quite pop it by the Jets goaltender there. His teammates will go back down the other way. The Jets still have another minute left on their power play. It was in the feet of Cole Simmons of the Jets, but then again, it is dumped back the other way by the penalty-killing Vitos. 50 seconds left on their penalty kill, killing off this 5-minute major penalty to Maxime McKinnon early in this game. Vitos very successful at killing more time here. But the Jets might get another look here. Battling in hard is Parker Lee. And it's knocked back in by Sidney Pemberton, but it was offside, so the Jets have no choice to clear. And coming back the other way is Tennyson Godin for the Vitos. He has a little bit of help from a teammate there. Jacob Greeley dances in behind the net, but eventually gives it up to the Jets one more couple of quick passes the other way, but it's intercepted once again in some neutral zone hopscotch by the Vitos and the Jets. On the backhand there was Sean Ahern, and although it's trickling, covering up will be the Jets goaltender Daniel Levat. Only 1 second left here on this power play as the Vitos will successfully kill off a huge penalty early in this game. Face-off will be to Levat's left. The Vitos have the 4th best penalty kill in the league heading into this one, and will again succeed at keeping the puck out of the net a man short. 88.6% of penalties they've killed off here in this young season. Vitos are playing their 9th game of the year heading into this evening's matchup. This will be the Jets' 12th matchup of the campaign, so they've been busier so far. Of the 2 games they've won, both have come at home here at the Member 2 Sports and Wellness Center for the Jets, so if they have a chance of bouncing back against a team that beat them pretty good here both times last weekend, what better place to do it than at home here in Member 2? The Vitos now have a chance to get even as they're back to 5-on-5, as it's covered up again there by Levat. Talon Pearson skated in for the Vitos there, but lost a handle on it as he went in 1-on-1. 12:07 remain in this first period, still yet to score. Face off to the left of the goaltender. It was initially won by the Vitos, but coming back the other way was the Jets. Putting up a battle was Colton Jador of the Jets, but he only gets it to about center ice before it is dumped back in by the visitors. Chipped on up off the boards, and the Vitos can't quite keep it in there, and they will get blown down for an offside, and the face-off will come outside. The Vitos win that one cleanly. Alexander Daigla playing center, wearing number 11 for the Vitos, who are in white gear left. Right up the boards, Sam Whitaker wearing number 5 gets it to a teammate, and a shot in. They'll get an opportunity coming out of the net is Daniel Levat to play it. He gets it to his defenseman, who takes a tumble after getting it up to the point. But the Vitos will keep it in. Oh, what a maneuver there by Sutter McQuaid, wearing number 8. And after that shot went high, the Jets will get it out, and they'll shoot it down the ice. Will it be enough for an icing? The linesman will blow it down, although there was some contention. It sounds like a couple of upset players out there on the ice. But it'll come back all the way down to the Jets zone there. You can see there on your screen the Jets coaches are contending the offside call there a little bit, asking the referees about it, it appears, in the conversation with the linesman. But play will carry on as the Vitos win yet another draw. That's going to go back to Jake Arbeau on defense. Goes to his partner there. Tennyson Godin throws it all the way on net, but as it's drifting to the far side on Daniel Levat, he will catch the puck out of midair, and we'll go back to the face-off dot. The Jets with a big defensive zone win. Swung around the boards there by Stefan LeBlanc on defense. Got it all the way up to Foss Francis McDonald momentarily. And there's some contention in the neutral zone there, but it is dumped in by Cape Breton. Blair Francis, he's a big presence over on the corner, but he loses the puck. It's going to pop back to Livingston for the Vitos. Remember, he has 12 goals this year. That's tops in the entire league. Playing on a very good line here with Kaysen Cooling wearing number 22 for the Vitos. Cooling is the leading scorer in this entire league for the St. John Vitos. He has 20 points in 8 games played, including 8 goals. 5 of Cooling's goals this year came in one game against the Cape Breton Jets last week in a 10-3 win on October 25th here. As Trip Livingstone falls over into the corner, he's slow to get up there behind the play, although the Vitos recover the puck in the neutral zone. Now going for a skate for St. John is Sutter McQuaid. He's going to fling it on net, and that is gobbled up again by Daniel Lavat. And he's gotten lots of action here in this period as there's some scrumming going on just after the whistle here briefly. Trip Livingston, remember, went down that corner, and he was able to get back up after a moment, but he did not seem happy there with the Jets player after the whistle. Just over the halfway point here in the first period of this Nova Scotia Under-16 AAA Hockey League matchup. St. John Vitos and the host Cape Breton Jets remain tied here in Member 2. The Jets will win the face-off and skate it all the way to the red line before the St. John Vitos cut them off again. And a pass intended for Vito's winger missed cleanly and will go all the way down for an icing call with a face-off to the left of the Vitos goaltender, Luca Riva. Parker Lee will take this face-off in the O zone for the Jets. Goes up against Daigla. And the Vitos will come out with the puck. Dumped in. It's a one-on-one battle there. Talon Pearson for the Vitos catches his own dump in and almost recovers a pass from his teammate there, Luc Bellier. Passing that puck in front. Picked off again by a Vito. What a pad save there by Lavat. An excellent opportunity there for Godin, the Vito, but it is padded away in a kick save. And cutting in once more is Dagla, and it's an excellent defensive play there by Sidney Pemberton, coming back to save another potential scoring chance. The Vitos outshooting the Jets by a shot count of 7-3 so far. They've been pouring it on here in the last few minutes as the Vitos are showing why they're the best offensive team in the league. They have a lot of scoring prowess on this club. And to be exact, they have on average scored 5 goals a game. The St. John Vitos have. More than any other club in this league. And it's not a, on paper anyway, a great matchup for the Jets, having struggled defensively here in recent games. They've allowed an average of 6.64 goals per game, with a few rough outings turning into blowouts. However, so far they have kept up with them with their fair share of chances, although the Vitos are really trying to turn this around, especially without their defenseman Maxime McKinnon in the lineup here, having been ejected for a penalty, a major penalty earlier this period. As the Vitos take it all the way back down to the Cape Breton Jets zone. Up on the close side wall, it is flung in. Going to recover that for the Jets is Colin McDonald on defense. He gets it all the way up to the point, not much further, but it'll bounce back to McDonald. Uses the glass this time, and it's off the stick of the Vitos' Sutter McQuaid, and now cutting in for the Jets. It's a pass up across the crease, and making an excellent save there was Luca Riva. Saved a goal there on Travis Smith-McNeil, who had a great opportunity in close on a good setup from his teammate. And it's a big hit there by LeBlanc, and it's shot all the way down the ice. And it's a good shift there by the Jets to try and turn this momentum around after the Vitos have controlled most of the offensive action since the expiry of the major penalty. 7:19 remain in this first period here in Member 2. Face-off will be to the right on the close side of Luca Riva, the Vitos goaltender. It's a tie-up off the face-off, and although it is sticked in by a Jet, the Vitos will come out with it. Held in at the line by LeBlanc for the Jets, and chipped up off the glass there by a Vito, but held in once more by Cape Breton. Down the corner, battling was Colton Jador. He went up against a pair of Vitos, as it is forked on net and hugging that post well. was Luca Riva to make the save. That is handed down and coming the other way for the Jets. Zach McIntyre went for a brief rush there, but a teammate was offside, so they'll have to try again at the faceoff dot. Faceoff won by the Vitos. Jake Arbeau on defense. He's going to go for a rush. He likes to get active on the defensive mobility as he takes a hit and joins the play in behind the net there. But he has to get back quick as the Jets pressure coming out the other way. It's shot back in, but goes to the far side of the goaltender, Daniel Levat, as there is some physicality over in the corner. And the Vitos take it away again. Oh, that's an excellent play. A no-look pass. That is stopped by Levat. Trip Livingston. The top line for St. John is out right now. Right now, the most dangerous line, forward line in this league, Livingston. He's joined by teammates Alex Cutler and Luc Bellier right now. As the puck goes down the other way for an icing, but also blowing the whistle here is the referee talking to somebody on the Cape Breton Jets bench. We'll see if this turns into anything. Doesn't look like it right now, though. Face-off is won by the Vitos in the O-zone. However, they win it a little too cleanly, and it'll come all the way back out the center ice where Sam Whitaker and his defensive partner, Sutter McQuaid, have to get it back in deep for his forwards to chase. But the Jets are efficient getting it back out the other way, leading the rushes. Isaac Ward, as he tried to get around a Vito's defender, but he's successful in thwarting that attack for now. The Jets are right back in with it, though. Andrew Penny is dumped in the corner there by Arbeau. Pardon me, that's Sutter McQuaid. He is notioning to the ref there after he lost his stick, but there's going to be no call on the play. Back on defense, Malik Stevens gets it down in deep and will pressure the winger and absolutely dumps him for the Vitos. Malik Stevens of the Jets with a bone cruncher down in the other zone. But the Vitos are quick to come back out the other way, and there's going to be a call behind the play. It's a slashing penalty, appears, against St. John. Jake Arbeau will go to the box as the Jets get another look on their power play. They're 0 for 1 so far, that first attempt being a 5-minute major. And although they had a few shots, they couldn't get any real momentum going, but they'll have another opportunity here. As against a team like St. John, they could really use that opportunity to get on the board here early, maybe before the buzzer goes here in the first period. Faceoff's going to be to the right of Luca Riva. Trip Livingston of the St. John Vitos was having a conversation with the referee behind the play. That explains the delay. But now we're underway here as the Jets get the puck back. Here's the shot on net. That was a great opportunity there by Colin McDonald on defense, who threw it on goal. So he had a forward bang away for the puck toward Luca Riva in net. But the Vitos get it all the way back down. We've seen some good forechecking here on the penalty kill today so far from the Vitos, as that puck rolls all the way down on net to Luca Riva. And he will cover up. We'll get another face-off here. 29 seconds expired on this penalty, a minute 31 remaining. 4:22 left in the period, and we're still yet to see a goal. The shots are 11-5, though, for the Vitos, although the Jets win this face-off. Dancing around with it is Colin McDonald. McDonald lets the shot go, looking for that deflection front by Crawley, and that is fluttered on over the net. Parker Lee, the team's leading scorer, goes for a skating around the net. He shoots, he scores! Hudson Crawley slips it through the wickets of Riva, and the Cape Breton Jets open the scoring here in member 2. It's 1-0 for the home side. And who else to start that play of action than Parker Lee? Leads the team in assists with 6 and points with 9, but he'll pick up his 10th point of the season here as he sets up his teammate Hudson Crawley in the slot. And looked like Riva was screened in net there as he didn't even react to the shot. It almost looked like Crawley fanned on the shot as well. But that one will go in. It's a big score for Cape Breton, who get a first period goal on this imposing St. John Vito's club. Some discussions going on here around the net. There was a lot of action in front of Luca Riva on that goal. May have been some discussions about potential interference, but those aren't going to hold right now as play continues, and the Cape Breton Jets take an early 1-0 lead here. Early in the game, anyway. And the Jets are right back down with it. Cole Simmons tries to go in, but he is blocked by Jake Arbeau of the Vitos. Arbeau took a slashing call there, leading to that power play that led to the Jets' goal. And he's right back out there on defense. Recovering that dump in is Zach McIntyre, wearing number 4 for the Jets. He only gets it as far as Arbeau at the point, and Cape Breton has to try and break out again. But it's a good forecheck here for the Vito. Strip Livingston, wearing number 19, tries to contend against Stefan LeBlanc of the Jets. As there's some good battling going on there in that corner. One-on-one battles all over the place. It's forced down into the corner once more, and dancing with that puck is Kason Cooling, the leading scorer for this team. And in the league, for that matter. These guys can really make it happen in the other zone. As it's thrown on net, Livingston with a very close opportunity there, trying to fire that puck through traffic. With 12 goals this year, he can score in a lot of situations, and he gave Daniel Levat a good test in net there for the Jets, but he holds tight. He makes his 12th save of this first period here. We're under 3 minutes to go here in this first period. Hudson Crawley has the opening goal of this hockey game, striking on the power play for the Cape Breton Jets to give them a 1-0 lead. So the Jets come barreling in, trying to fend off this feisty St. John Vito squad. They work hard and get it as far as the blue line and eventually out, lost in the feet of Parker Lee, and he'll dump it into the Vito zone. Some action there at center ice. Picking that up for the Vitos is Alex Cutler. Cutler dumps it in for his teammates for St. John. Talon Pearson and Sean Ahern are in there battling against the Jets defenders. Ahern tries to make something happen. He throws it up in front of the net, and as it's lying in the crease, Daniel Levat puts a stop to the play, and we'll get another face-off just to his left. He's been very sharp so far this afternoon, Daniel Levat. As mentioned, one of the busier goalies in the league. He's faced 243 shots heading into this game. The only other goalie to face remotely near the number of shots he has is his teammate, Calix Tornitis, who's backing him up for the Jets here tonight. Tornitis has faced 269 shots here this year. That is most in the league in this young season. No one else has faced more than 200 shots so far yet in the Nova Scotia Under-16 AAA Hockey League. Travis McNeil of the Jets took it for a run, but is quickly picked off, coming back the other way, as that is a knuckle puck going up and over the net of Levat. Excellent scoring chance there from Talon Pearson, but he can't get the clean shot off, and the Jets will come back the other way. They have just over a minute left in the period, maybe to extend that lead. The action has really seemed to even out here since the Jets' goal. Stepping in with the shot, it goes off a handle of a stick. Stefan LeBlanc with the initial shot from the point. Covering that puck is Matt Phillips. Phillips, the captain, throws it toward the net, but that's off a Vito skate and wide into the corner. And there's a collision up there along the boards, but the Vitos get it out once again. 50 seconds left in this period. Cashin Morrison starts the play, and he'll try to get the shot off there, but it is off a stick and into the netting. .45 seconds left in this period. Luca Riva seemed to have a little trouble with his net staying in place this period. Him and the linesman have been checking out the posts here a few times. Putting the water bottle to it here to see if it'll stick for the rest of this period before the flood. Face-off is won by the Jets, or rather the Vitos. Jake Arbeau takes it, but he faces some stiff resistance in behind his net. Picked off by the Jets at center ice as the Vitos briefly got it out, and rolls all the way back to Jake Arbeau, who will go D to D here for Sam Whitaker. Whitaker throws it cross ice, and his intended target missed, and we'll get an icing call here with 22 seconds left in the period. Jets players having, Vito's players rather, having to stay on the ice here. Isaac Ward will take the face-off for the Jets, countered by Alexander Daigla for St. John, and Daigla wins it. Jets get in briefly on the forecheck, but the Vitos force it out of the zone. They'll get it in deep here. Held up rather in the slot. And this big hit thrown there by Daigla while the period runs out. Hudson Crawley with the lone marker in the first period here, as the Cape Breton Jets not only keep the high-flying scoring Vitos off the board here in the first 20 minutes of play, but they strike on the power play to get an 1-0 lead here. We'll be right back after the flood here at the high button. Well, welcome back to the Member 2 Sports and Wellness Center for the second period of this Nova Scotia Under-16 AAA Hockey League matchup between the St. John Vitos and the Cape Breton Jets. The Jets up 1-0 after 20 minutes of play. Hudson Crawley strikes on the power play, his team leading fourth goal of the season, assisted by Parker Lee, who registered his 7th assist of the campaign and his 10th point, which also leads his team. However, the Vitos have had more of the offensive opportunities. They have registered 14 shots on Jets stopper Daniel Lavat, but he has been sharp, stopping all of those shots. And Luca Riva has been solid in the other net as well for the Vitos. However, there was that one on the power play that got by him. And that is the difference right now as we're about to begin the second period. And the Jets could really use a win here today. Although there's still 2 periods of hockey left to go, this is a great start. It's been over a month since they last won a hockey game when they beat the Moncton Thunderbirds by a score of 5-3 here on September 28th in Member 2. The day before that, they had beaten the Eastern Dukes of PEI 4-3. Also here in Member 2. And those are their only 2 wins here so far of this campaign. They're on a 7-game skid so far. But against a good team like St. John, they're trying to turn that around today. St. John is yet to lose a game in regulation this season, including 2 commanding wins over the Cape Breton Jets and Quispamsis, New Brunswick here last weekend, as they meet once more here in Member 2 today. Down the corner for the Cape Breton Jets, Andrew Penny, the affiliate player wearing number 21. He comes up with the puck, has a little bit of daylight to work with, but he is pinned to the boards there by Sam Whitaker of the St. John Vitos, and that's enough to force a turnover. Forcing up the boards is Tripp Livingston, the dangerous goal-scoring forward here for the Vitos. He's up there with his teammate Alex Gutler, but they lost the puck, and the Jets take it up across the opposing blue line for a moment, but Tripp Livingston comes back to recover the puck for them. Leaves it off for teammate Cutler. Playing a little back and forth there. Jake Arbeau, the defender for the Vitos. Nice flick pass over to Livingston. Livingston has some space and he goes down. He's tripped and he runs into Daniel Lavat as he was taken down there by the Jets defender. Thankfully, Lavat does not appear to be hurt. He's a little shaken up, but he's back up on his feet. The arm went up on the play, and it looks like the Cape Breton Jets are going to the box. The St. John Vitos now will go to the power play. And that is a promising sign for St. John. They are by far the best power play in the league. They have a clip of 35.9%, pardon me. By far the best in the league, well ahead of the second place Western Rebels from PEI, who have only a 22.4% success rate on the man advantage. As stepping in was Arbeau. He gets a couple of cracks there, but it's forced back off to the corner there. Arbeau fanned on the pass, but gets it back on to the point there. Tennyson Godin threw it on net, and it is covered up by Daniel Lavat as there's some shots thrown there at the top of the crease, but that dissipates quick as the linesmen come in to break that up. And now there's another Jet going to the penalty box. Seth Black was throwing some cross-checks after the play, and the referees are going to take him off for that. So look at this. It's going to be a minimum minute 38 long 5-on-3 for the St. John Vitos. And if there is ever a chance to crawl back into this hockey game and tie the score, maybe even take the lead, this is it. As the 2-man advantage begins. However, the Jets win the face-off, slowing down the attack ever so slightly as Malik Stevens the Jets tries to swing it out, but he has to turn it back over to a teammate. But the Vitos come away with the puck there. And Cutler will spin around on the hash marks there, gets it down low for Livingston. Livingston coming up the wide side and goes cross ice there to his teammate. Playing around with his case and cooling the shot over to Livingston. Just goes wide, is turned away. Cutler battles in there toughly with Zach McIntyre down the corner. As McIntyre goes, and that's going to be a penalty against the Vitos, and that'll end the 5-on-3 advantage. And they're still tied up over in the corner. Even after the whistle is gone, Livingston was knotted up there with Zach McIntyre. McIntyre was the one taken down, and Alex Cutler of the Vitos will be the one going to the penalty box for 2 minutes. The Vitos will remain on the power play, but it'll be a 4-on-3 power play for 1 minute and 2 seconds. However, the face-off will come all the way back down into the St. John zone to the right of goaltender Luca Riva. And St. John takes possession off the face-off. We'll have a power play here for the next 50 seconds, unless they score before then. Jets giving them a good battle down in the corner, playing that defense. And a Jet went down. There's no call, although there's a couple of calls, and come back the other way in the breakaway. Matt Phillips scores! The captain for Cape Breton makes a move on Riva Luca. And on the penalty kill, the Jets have just doubled their lead to make it 2-0. A sloppy turnover by a St. John Vito on the opposing blue line and coughed it up to Phillips. And he makes no mistake on the breakaway to register another crucial goal for this Jets team. But the Vitos still maintain a power play here, a 4-on-3 power play at that, for another 15 seconds before Colin McDonald of the Jets jumps back on the ice to even things up. And going for that shot was Kaysen Cooling. He fanned on it. Brought back up to him by Godin, and Cooling gets another shot on net, but he is denied by Daniel Levat. He continues to be sharp here in this Saturday evening game. Cape Breton now up 2-0. Matt Phillips strikes on the breakaway. Cape Breton trying to kill off the first of these two penalties. And now we're in the 4-on-4 action as Colin McDonald jumps back on the ice. But here comes a chance from Daigla. And that shot on net by the Vitos, but it is turned away there by Daniel Levat, the goaltender, and Cape Breton works it down via ice. And the Jets are just about to begin a power play as Seth Black jumps back on the ice for Cape Breton. And for 33 seconds here, the Jets will have a short-lived power play. Come back down the other way. That's off a stick. The linesman waves off some potential icing. Forced back around the boards by Luca Riva. Come back the other way is Jake Arbeau. Arbeau dances around a pair of Jets there in the neutral zone and will flick it in, up off the glass, and intercepted by a Jet. But the outlet pass is intercepted again by St. John. It's back onto their tape in deep as the St. John Vitos penalty comes to an end, and we're back to even strength here. No power play goals there on a flurry of penalties here early in this third period. Instead, Matt Phillips strikes on a shorthanded goal to make it 2-0 for the host team, Cape Breton Jets. Coming in with the shot is Cutler, and that shot is high and wide, and it rims all the way back around for the Vitos to reset down in their own zone. Jake Arbeau, the defenseman, is going to go for a skate here. Tries to get around the Cape Breton Jets defender. That's Colton Butters for Cape Breton, throwing it down in deep. It's off a body in front, and the deflection is just wide. Almost another goal there for Cape Breton. It was that close as Riva's right goalpost was left exposed. But St. John will force it back on out here. And the Vitos will have a chance going the other way. Jacob Greeley cuts into the middle of the ice. He's pressured there closely by Phillips, but there's a whistle behind the play. And it appears to be a tripping penalty going against Cape Breton again. That one's going to go against Hudson Crawley, who scored the first goal of this game for the Cape Breton Jets back in the first period. He's going to be assessed a tripping minor, and this imposing St. John Vito power play, after things didn't go according to plan the first time around, will get another shot at the man advantage with a face-off coming to the left of Daniel Levat. 14:20 left in this second period. It's 2-0 Cape Breton, trying to pull off the upset here at home against the St. John Vitos. But the Vitos will still have a lot more hockey and effort to give before then, led by the man taking the face-off for St. John, Kaysen Cooling, the leading scorer in the league. However, he'll lose the face-off, and the Jets throw it all the way back down the other way, and they'll have to reset one more time. Quarterbacking this man advantage is Sutter McQuaid, wearing number 8 for the Vitos. Leaves it off for Kaysen Cooling. He'll come across the blue line there onside and forces it back down to his teammate McQuaid. McQuaid goes in one-on-one against the Jet Killer. Down to Cutler up top for Trip Livingston. And that's off a pair of shin pads. And oh, deja vu, Matt Phillips almost got away on another breakaway there. He scored shorthanded here just a few minutes ago. And you won't get in clean this time, but he kills some valuable time off the clock here for the Jets' penalty kill. And now the board is showing 3 minutes and 10 seconds left in this Cape Breton Jets penalty. Possibly a double minor here assessed to Hudson Crawley, but if that's the case, there is a lot of breathing room here for the Vitos to try and crawl back in this hockey game. Down low for Cooling. Kaysen Cooling tries to throw across crease. Waiting there was Tennyson Godin. Just to the other side, Matt Phillips. He's been making a lot happen on this PK today. Through the legs, what a play! Tried to backhand that through the legs of Riva, but he came up with a big save there, is trying not to allow Phillips to score another shorty on this team. Come back the other way. Livingston tries to go high glove on Daniel Levat, but that is caught. And after the play, Livingston took a tumble down in the corner. Not sure if the Jets were guilty there, but the official does have his arm in the air pointing toward the box. Let's see what happens here. There's 2 minutes and 24 seconds left on this penalty kill for the Cape Breton Jets. And there is another Jet going to the box. Colton Butters will go sit down. And lo and behold, another 5-on-3 opportunity is imminent for the St. John Vitos, and a timeout has been called here. I didn't see exactly who called the timeout here, but for St. John anyway, the Vitos have the whiteboard out on their bench trying to draw something out to make this power play count. They have a full 2 minutes of 5-on-3 time. As mentioned, they're the most dangerous team on the man advantage in this league, heading into the game with a 35.9% success rate with the extra man, at least on the ice. The best offensive team in the league have scored an average of 5 goals a game, but halfway through this hockey game, they're struggling to beat Daniel Levat, who has been very strong here this afternoon. Levat is one of 5 2009 born hockey players on this Cape Breton Jets team, so he is a veteran, taking on that role well here today. The Vitos pick up this puck. Trip Livingston lays it off here for Sutter McQuaid. Down for Cooling, but nothing could happen here, and it's going to be a tripping call. Trip Livingston got a stick in under the feet of Cole Simmons of the Jets, and just like last time, after a brief-lived 5-on-3 for the Vitos, they're going to take a penalty and bring that to an end. However, the Vitos will maintain a minute and 43 of power play time here, although it'll be a 4-on-3 man advantage rather than the 5-on-3. Faceoff comes all the way back down the other way into the Vito zone, and St. John wins the draw. Beginning again with most of that power play unit still out there. Come back the other way, their leading scorer, Kason Cooling. Cooling is going to dance around behind the net, looking at his options with the head up. Down in the faceoff circle, crossway, scores! Sutter McQuaid picks the top blocker, finally solving Daniel Lavat. And St. John cuts the Jets' lead in half here with 12:08 left in the second period. It's 2-1. And that's why Kason Cooling is such a feared player, absolutely commanding the play there, goes for a long skate, gets lots of room to find his teammate there. Sutter McQuaid strikes with his second goal of the season here, as St. John cuts the deficit to 1. The referees are talking over at the box here. Perhaps just making sure they had the goal credit correct and that the right player is out of the box. But one of the penalties, rather both of the penalties against Cape Breton came off the board, but everything is back to where it should be now as play continues. It was a power play goal for St. John, so we're back to 4-on-4 action. And we'll have 4-on-4 action here for the next minute and 30. As when Trip Livingston of the Vitos will come out of the box. This game back the other way is Phillips for the Jets. He likes to make some moves one-on-one there, especially coming down when there are fewer players on the ice to compete against. He's made a lot of noise so far today as a penalty killer for the Jets, including that leading goal, go-ahead goal right now, as Cape Breton leads 2-1, going for a skate there all the way back the other way for the Vitos. Couple excellent chances there for Jacob Greeley, but is kicked away by the goaltender, and a glove save to follow on Jake Arbeau as Daniel Lavat remains sharp, while he has finally been solved on that Sutter McQuaid goal. He's not letting that get to him as he made a brilliant glove save that time around. The faceoff will come to his right. Still 48 seconds left in 4-on-4 action here, midway through the second period in member 2. Faceoff is won by Cape Breton. Colin McDonald on defense. He makes one move one way behind the net and returns the other, taken away in the neutral zone by St. John. Waiting with it is Godin on defense. He's out there with Luc Bellier. Is back in the possession of Cape Breton as the teams play some back and forth here in the neutral zone. No one can really get a handle on it. Everyone being stuffed at center ice. Stéphane LeBlanc forces it up to the opposing blue line, but his teammate takes a check and the Vitos take it back, only for it to be thrown down the ice. Potentially an icing here, and the call will come as Trip Livingston steps out of the box for the Vitos. Now this will be a power play for St. John, but it'll come with a face-off in their own end, and there are only 6 seconds left before the Cape Breton Jets go back to even strength here. Their box right now is Hudson Crawley, who is serving a double minor there. But it'll just momentarily here be back to 5-on-5 play in member 2. The Vitos try to make something happen the other way as the Jets even up the strength on the ice. Puck taken away at center ice as a mob of players from both teams gather by the players' benches. Coming out with the puck is the Vitos, as the puck is gloved by Daniel Lavat for another face-off. Talon Pearson had the shot there, but it was a floater into the mitt of the Jets netminder. As we hit the halfway point of this second period and of regulation time here, the Cape Breton Jets are hanging on to this 1-goal lead. Matt Phillips gave them the lead on a shorthanded marker earlier this period. However, Sutter McQuaid of the St. John Vitos has brought the score back within 1 to make the score where it is now 2-on-1. And somebody here is going back to the penalty box. There's a Vito down in the neutral zone as the referee signals a head contact penalty against a Jet, it appears. Malik Stevens is going to go to the box for that one. A head contact penalty. We'll see if that's a minor or a double minor. It's often called on the heavier side of the penalty, but this one will just be 2 minutes. But nonetheless, the Vitos are back on the power play, and they have scored on the power play the last time they had a sizable opportunity. And they win the draw as Kaysen Cooling has the puck in down low. Here's the shot as the Vito is knocked down aggressively in front of the Jets net, but the shot goes high and wide. Two St. John players down battling in the corner. Swinging in front is Cutler, but he is denied by Levat in the Jets net, and Cape Breton will clear it down the length of the ice. Starting out with the puck is Jake Arbeau, quarterbacking this power play. Cross-ice pass up to Sam Whitaker. Whitaker will go on the skate and takes a hit in the corner from Colin McDonald, the Jets killer. Comes up to Trip Livingston. Flips it back into the corner for teammate Cutler. Cutler loses a tire there behind the net, but gets it back out front to Arbeau, who forces it down to Cooling. He missed the pass, but got the bounce back off the boards. Cooling will cut to the middle. Briefly loses it once more, but will skate back in. Gets the shot off, and that is gobbled up by Levat with another important save. It's a collision down toward the net as Cole Simmons knocked down a Vito in front of the net. There's been a lot of that after whistle antics from both sides here this afternoon. There'll be no call on that one. Face off to the left of the goaltender Levat. 50 seconds left in this St. John power play. Trying to tie this game up, trailing by 1. There's a high stick there by a Vito player, but it's waved off as it fell into the feet of a Jet. As Cape Breton flips it up and out to the zone to the opposing blue line as St. John resets. But it's picked off there by Parker Lee, and he's hooked as he pursued the puck. And that'll bring an end to another Vito's power play, as we'll go to 4-on-4 action here for 27 seconds before Cape Breton gets a look on the man advantage. Be a hooking call here against Sutter McQuaid, the St. John goal scorer. As the Vitos come on out with the puck, it's Alexander Dagla coming back up the other way. Dagla cuts toward the middle of the ice, tries to leave it off there to his left for Jake Arbeau, his teammate. As it's a tie-up in front of the net, a great battle there, as tied up were Jacob Greeley and Seth Black in front of Daniel Levat's net. But Levat gets to it before anything else happens. 4-on-4 hockey here right now for another 14 seconds. At that point, Malik Stevens will step out of the box for Cape Breton, and they'll get a power play for about a minute and a half. Face-off won by St. John again. They've been good in the dot today. The shot comes from the point, and a heavy snapper from Tennyson Godin is blockered away. Jake Arbeau hits the puck all the way back in his own end. Come back the other way to Godin. Leaves it up for Dagla, his teammate. He's joined on the rush here by Greeley as Dagla hits the brakes, but is forced on out of the zone here. Now St. John is on the penalty kill, so they'll have to manage the puck carefully here. Here comes Greeley for the Vitos. He's pinned up into the corner, and Zach McIntyre will hold him there for a second as support comes from his teammates. Almost pitchforked up and away onto the boards here, but Greeley will cut in for St. John. He almost has a scoring chance. He's held up there a little bit by the Jets defender, and there's no quality scoring chance there. Greeley, he's had a long shift. He'll battle again once more up the boards, but instead the other way, here comes Parker Lee on the rush for the Cape Breton Jets. Parker Lee spins in the corner, but loses possession of the puck. He gets some help though and gets it back, tries to backhand that toward Luca Riva's net. as the Jets hold it here. They still have 30 seconds here on this power play. Back to the point, and here's an opportunity here for Colin McDonald toward the point. He scores! That hit a leg out front, and the Jets restore their 2-goal lead. It's 3-1. And it may have went off a St. John Vito leg here. Colin McDonald for Cape Breton is the first on the bench flyby. He shot that puck initially. It was at first padded away by the goaltender. But off the rebound, it hit someone or something and bounced in behind Luca Riva. And it's 3-1 Cape Breton here. Phillips had the puck down low and almost got the return pass on the give and go, but couldn't quite handle it as St. John comes back down the other way, and they'll have to start from square one here again as they find themselves down by 2 goals with just over 6 minutes left in this second period. Matt Phillips had the puck in behind the net, but St. John intercepts again. But here comes Phillips. He's going to try to break for it down the middle. Tries to cut around the St. John defender, but he is shouldered off the puck as the play gravitates toward the corner. Vito struggling to get the puck out here, and they're going to lose it again to the Jets. A shot on net just misses. So that is padded away there. Travis Smith-McNeil tried to make something happen there by flipping it up into the goaltender crease, but the Vitos are going to come down the other way. Here's the shot. Shot attempt from Luc Bellier was off his shin pad and out. Here's the stretch pass coming down the other way. Smith-McNeil stopped by Luca Riva. Another excellent chance here for the Jets. They've had a couple looks here today on the odd man rush and even a couple of breakaways. There was another partial break there, and Riva stands tall that time. The Jets really making it happen here on the offensive side here in this second period, despite having to deal with a few penalties. As we get just under the 5-minute mark here in this second period, and they lead by 2. Up into the air, that is stick down there by Godin of the Vitos. Tried to go D-to-D there to his partner Arbo, but it's given away instead. A blind shot there that Riva had to contend with the net, but it's high and wide. Vitos barely holding on there in their own end. But they finally get a little bit of daylight and they'll come up. It's a partial 2-on-1. Leading it is Alex Cutler. Cutler tried to force it through the net but went wide. Tripp Livingston was there on the rush with him too, but he's taken down before he could get a shot in. All the way back to the St. John blue line. It's flippered up and over as a Jet tried to force it back down the other way, but only got so far as St. John puts it back into Cape Breton zone once more. Zach McIntyre went D-to-D. And rimmed up along the boards there coming the other way. Colton Jador was the recipient of that pass, but lost possession as St. John takes back the puck once again. Jets playing a big dump and chase game here right now, forcing the Vitos to do something, come out the other way, and there's a hit behind the play. The referee's arm is in the air. It's an interference call. And it looks like it's going against St. John. Just Jake Arbo going to the box for the second time this afternoon. And the Cape Breton Jets with a big chance on this power play to put this game out of reach for the St. John Vitos. Up 3-1 already if they can strike again here on this power play. .342 left on the clock here in this second period. Still a lot of hockey to play, but Cape Breton has been finding the back of the net well today. They win the faceoff. Backhand spin there by the Cape Breton Jets. Colton Butters doesn't go anywhere as the battle goes to the corner, but back to the point for Colin McDonald on defense. He lets the shot go. He scored the 3-1 goal for Cape Breton just a few minutes ago. A lethal option and a big booming shot there from the blue line on this power play. Now stepping in, there's the shot. Zach McIntyre right into the breadbasket of Luca Riva net, and the Vitos throw it back down the other way. Cape Breton still has a minute 20 here left on this power play. Less than 3 minutes to go in this second period. Cape Breton leading 3-1. That's intercepted by Alexander Daigla. He held on to it for a second before forcing it down to his teammate in the corner as St. John keeps up a relentless forechecking penalty kill here. And they're going to kill off the first minute of this power play. There's a whistle at the line as chaos ensued at the Cape Breton blue line. There'll be a face-off in the neutral zone in front of the St. John bench. Face-off won by the Vitos. Dumped on back down just to the right. The goaltender Daniel Levat. Phillips, the captain, makes the outlet pass on this power play. Hudson Crawley dumps it in back in further as the Jets box out here. Coming back the other way. Crawley picks up the puck again on the far side of the ice. They swing it around here a couple times, the Jets on the power play. But the pass from Stéphane LeBlanc to a teammate was errant. And it goes on out of the zone. The Jets are resetting here, but they only have a few seconds left on this power play. Trying to get maybe one more opportunity here on the man advantage. But the Vito's player will return to the ice. They have a little bit of pressure going here, though. Here's a shot in front, and the rebound almost came out to Cashin Morrison. But the opportunity missed as Riva made a nice pad save there for the Vitos. And St. John will recover the puck here at last. Sutter McQuaid goes up high off the glass, but has a little too much muscle on it. But the icing is waved off. The Jets maintain possession down in their own zone. Putting up a big battle there is Jake Arbeau for St. John. Now it's a 2-on-2 battle there to the right of Levat. On the wraparound opportunity there was Arbeau, but bounces back out the other way. Trying to split the D there is Hudson Crawley, but he's intercepted by Sam Whitaker. Helping out is Morrison for the Jets, but Cape Breton has to reset all the way to center ice. Come back the other way. Here comes Kaysen Cooling. Winds up for the slapper, and that goes high and wide. You always want to look out when that guy is the puck. Cooling, the league's leading scorer, just missed on that heavy-handed shot from the blue line. But the Jets have a chance coming back down the other way. Colton Jador carries the puck all the way around the Vito's net and tries to go up high, glove on Luca Riva, but on his knees he was ready for that one. 24 seconds left in this period with the Jets getting some late pressure on, trying to put this game even more out of the Vito's hands heading into the third period. Fluttered up to center ice. That's picked up by Tripp Livingston. Livingston on the backhand. Couldn't get that on net as the opportunity went wide. And that'll wrap up action here for the second period here in Member 2. A little bit extracurricular along the boards. Bit of a shoving match, but as the linesmen get in on that scrum, the players will instead head to their dressing rooms as we go for the flood. Cape Breton, after 2 periods, leading against this first place St. John Vito team. 3-1 the score. Colin McDonald and Matt Phillips with the goals in the second period for Cape Breton. Sutter McQuaid responded for the St. John Vitos. 23-19 are the shots for the visiting Vitos. However, it's Cape Breton leading on the scoreboard. It's 3-1 after 2 periods of play. We'll see you here in a few minutes again on the high button. And welcome back to Member 2 here for the third period of this Nova Scotia Under-16 AAA hockey matchup. The Cape Breton Jets hanging on to a 2-goal lead here against the usually high-scoring St. John Vitos. But Cape Breton with a pair of goals here in the second period. Early on, a shorty from Captain Matt Phillips, and later on, a goal from Colin McDonald on the blue line. There was a Sutter McQuaid goal in response for the St. John Vitos. But it's still a 2-goal lead for the home team here with 20 minutes to play here in regulation left in this one. The Jets a period away from snapping a 7-game losing streak. And what a way to do it here at home against a very strong team in St. John. A high stick contacts that puck from a St. John player. And as they touch up, the play will be blown down. Face-off remaining here in the neutral zone. Shots are 24-19 in favor of St. John, as an indication of where the offense has been at this point in the game. The Vitos have mostly controlled it, but we've seen some excellent goaltending today from Daniel Levat in the Jets' net, making 23 stops so far for Cape Breton. St. John tries to force their way into the Jets' zone, but they are hooked up there at the blue line, and they'll have to try again. Jake Arbeau on defense makes the outlet pass up toward Jacob Greeley. Greeley throws it toward the middle as Vito takes a tumble. There's no call on the play, as that was a near scoring chance again for St. John. But come back the other way, and that time is another trip and again another call, although the stick did get in there. Coming back with the puck for the Vitos is Luke Bellier. He dances around with it a little bit and gets a shot up again. It's up in the air behind Levat in net. It skips up and over and out of harm's way. A close call there as Levat had no idea where the puck was. Here comes Cape Breton the other way. Good opportunity there by Colton Butters. He gets a shot off, but that's blockered away. Jets get the puck back. At center ice, here comes Zach McIntyre, the defenseman. Deflected in again as a few Jets will go for a change there. St. John resetting in behind their own net. Sutter McQuaid coming up on the rush. He'll take it himself here. Sutter McQuaid lets it go. He has the goal for the Vitos here today. He missed on the far post. St. John is short a defenseman. Maxime McKinnon, the third leading scorer on the St. John team, their top scoring defenseman in the league, was ejected from the game just a few minutes in as he took a major penalty in a game misconduct very early on. So St. John has been playing without him today and have possibly lost a little bit of an offensive edge for that reason. Although they've been getting lots of shots on, running into Levat, who's been very good between the pipes for the Jets. Cape Breton won the draw, but quickly lost it again. St. John has a very relentless forecheck, and they'll take the puck here. Here's the shot, and a great chance by Cutler. Looked to have gone off a foot. Here comes the rebound, and right in front of the Jets net was Sean Ahern for St. John, trying to jab it by Levat there, but he stands tall and makes yet another save here early in the third period, as the Vitos have had a few really good looks here trying to get this comeback effort going early here in the final stanza of this hockey game. And that's rung around the boards after the Jets face-off win. 2-on-2 battle ensues there halfway up the wall. And Cape Breton will force it out of the zone. Good opportunity there from a Jet, but slips off to a Vitos player. Talon Pearson is nailed at center ice there. Malik Stevens throws a huge hit. We've seen a couple of those today. And that was a heavy, heavy hit on Pearson of the Vitos as he was slow to get up, but he looks okay. It got the Jets bench a little lively there. They're a physical team, and they've played a lot to that today. As the whistle goes, the Vitos threw a hit there in front of their own bench. Looks to be an offside call. Lots of physicality on that last shift, though, from both sides, highlighted by that hit from Malik Stevens in open ice as Vito cut in with his head a little too hung down there to see the collision coming. Trying to inject some energy into this Cape Breton Jets team as to hold on to a 2-goal lead here against the Vitos. It's the underdog heading into this hockey game. As that is slammed in down into the corner by Cole Simmons as the Jets put on the chase. LeBlanc on defense jams it back in. It's a one-on-one battle here. Tying him up is Simmons, but the Jets will come away with the puck. Jacob Greeley trying to get this rush going, come down the other way. It's a long pass for Livingston, and it just missed him, and it'll be called for an icing. Kason Cooling was going for that stretch pass there. An excellent chemistry there with Tripp Livingston, but they couldn't connect on that one, and the face-off will come all the way back down to the Vito's end here for the face-off. Cooling taking the defensive zone draw for St. John. Responding the other way is Foss Francis McDonald. So the Jets got a shot there off the face-off, but it comes all the way back out as it missed. Dancing around the middle there and losing a tire was Stefan LeBlanc, but gets it all the way up. There's Phillips! He's had a lot of great looks in close on Luca Riva of the Vitos today in net. He solved him once with that second period shorty, but Riva came out tall that time, making a crucial save early in this third period for the Vitos, trying to crawl back into this game. Kason Cooling will be a big part of that effort to get back into this hockey game as well, as he tried to make the outlet pass across the ice, but hit his skate, and his line will have to try again. Cooling sticks it up ahead, but nobody is there as his teammate went for a change. And Cape Breton will come back down the other way. Zach McIntyre, the defenseman, coming down on the rush. And he flicked it toward the net, but a little too heavily as that goes up and over the glass for a face-off. Matt Phillips has really stood out for the Jets here today, of course, scoring a goal here in the second period. He's really been a thorn in the Vito side this season, dating back to last week in the doubleheader in Quiz-Pam-Sis last weekend when these two teams played. Matt Phillips racked up 4 points over the weekend. And he adds another one to an impressive streak of a few games here for the Cape Breton captain. As it's given away here in the slot over to Cutler, off to the other side. Here's a shot here from Alexander Daigla. He's turned aside, though, by Daniel Lavat. Tried to get the puck here again as Cutler works up around the corner. Daigla parked in front of the net. Come down to help him now for St. John is Luke Bellier. And Bellier will take the puck here. Tried to curl around, but he's intercepted by a Jet. And it'll be airlifted up toward the opposite blue line, forcing St. John to recoup. 14-17 left in this third period. Cape Breton hanging on to a 2-goal lead here, trying to upset the St. John Vitos here at home in Member 2, Nova Scotia. Starting to break out is Daigla, but that gets lost in Fia Cutler, forcing the turnover there for a second was Crawley, but it is forced into a crowd again. Crawley emerges with the puck once more, and his shot was quick and deceptive, but it missed. Going back the other way up for Daigla. Goes in one-on-one against the Jets defenseman. Malik Stevens for Cape Breton moves it up toward a teammate as Cape Breton gets a little bit of breathing room, trying to get this puck out and kill some more time off the clock here. Cutler for the Vitos dumps it back in as his line gets a much-needed change. Goes D to D and up the middle and deflected in by Parker Lee of the Cape Breton Jets. But the home team will go for a line change to get some fresh legs out there. And that goes all the way up back the other way for the Vitos on the far side boards. But only heading his feet for a second as Cape Breton tries to turn the action the other way. Little bit of back and forth with the puck here in the neutral zone. Cape Breton trying to jam it in deep. Putting up a good effort there is Colton Butters for the Jets. Out there on that line with the captain, Matt Phillips, as play is blown dead here in the St. John Vito zone, and the face-off will come to the left of Luca Riva. Cape Breton closing in the shot category here. They have 23 shots here this afternoon. St. John, despite trailing by 2, leads that category with 27 attempts on net. The Vitos got it out, but they'll have to start up again in their own zone. Jake Garbeau, the defenseman, tries to get up to his winger, but the pass is errant, and the Jets will try again. Zach McIntyre tried to go D to D, but it's intercepted by the St. John forecheck. Back to the defenseman. Here's a shot from Godin. He scores! Tennyson Godin's shot from the point gets through, and the Vitos cut the lead back down to 1 once more here. Just over halfway to go in the third period. And at this point in the game, if you're the Vitos and you're shooting, trying to challenge Daniel Levat, who's been really good between the pipes for the Jets this afternoon. You want to get anything and everything that you can on net, and they did there. A good heads-up play from Godin to get that on net, and he gets a fortunate bounce his way, and it beats Levat in net. And now it's 3-2 all of a sudden with St. John back in this hockey game. Alexander Daigla, the centerman for the Vitos, trying to put on some pressure there. St. John trying to keep the pressure on and keep the Jets on their heels here in their own end. They're fumbling the puck a little bit. It's turned over to Cooling. He scores! And that is tipped, it appears, by Tripp Livingston, the league's leading goal scorer. That's going to be his 13th of the season. And don't miss anything. If you blink, it's tied up here in member 2, just like that. The Vitos were struggling to beat Daniel Levat in net, and all of a sudden they get 2 quick goals here, less than 30 seconds apart. And a timeout will be called, but we're all tied up here in member 2 as the Vitos and their lethal offense finally comes through for them here in the third period. That'd be Cooling's second assist of the afternoon. The league's leading scorer. 14 assists on the year for number 22 in the white uniforms. Crucial part of this comeback effort, and he'll pick up a huge assist there as his teammate Livingston gets on the board. And it's a brand new hockey game here with 11:39 left on the clock here. Member 2, and there's a collision. Both refs are going to call that one. It's a knee-on-knee hit on Tripp Livingston, who is down and seriously in pain there at the blue line. And there's going to be a call. The question is, how severe against the Cape Breton Jets? Malik Stevens, he's really been a physical presence this afternoon for the home team. He's thrown a couple of big hits, and that one is on the knee of Livingston. A clear penalty there. Not a pretty looking hit at all, as the referees convene at center ice to talk about what to do with this call. Livingston is helped onto the bench here by his teammates, getting looked at by trainers. The board is showing 4 minutes, a 4-minute penalty on against Malik Stevens. Possibly for a kneeing call. But this might be a chance for the Vitos to get ahead here. Now a tie game. Their lethal power play gets back to work here, trying to take the first lead of the game. And that's padded away. Here comes the rebound. Sutter McQuaid's shot went wide. McQuaid has 1 goal today. He's joined out there with Kaysen Cooling on the far side boards. He swings around and throws it back to Whitaker. And there's some activity in front of the net, and that will warrant a call. And it looks like the Vitos will go to the box here. Luke Bellier is going to take a roughing minor here. So that'll bring an end. Or maybe it won't. As he's joined by a Jet in the box, it looks like the roughing calls will go both ways. And the Jets will, in fact, remain on the penalty kill and the Vitos on the power play. 3:38 showing here on the clock for time remaining in this power play for St. John. The Jets failed to clear. Sutter McQuaid holds the line, goes back behind the net for Cooling. Cooling keeps the cycle going up top to Whitaker. Whitaker walks the line back down for Cooling. Cross ice, the shot, he scores! Another one for the Vitos on the power play. And guess who? Tripp Livingston with another goal. He tied the game, and now he gives St. John the lead. He drew that penalty on the knee-on-knee hit. Looked back at the bench for a second. He's right back out there doing what he does best in scoring goals. And St. John, for the first time this hockey game, is in the lead. And to boot, that won't do it for the St. John power play. That was a double minor against Malik Stevens on that hit on Livingston. So they'll get at least another 2 minutes here before this power play goes away. And if you give Livingston and Cooling those opportunities to score, they'll take advantage of it. And they finally come out to play here in this third period. Here's a shot from Long that goes high off a body in front and wide. Battle ensues in the corner. Holding that line, though, is Sutter McQuaid for the Vitos. At the right side point, goes over to the left side point. Here's the play and the shot here from Whitaker, and it is gloved by Levat, who stood tall this game, but has finally faced the wrath of this St. John Vitos offense here in the third period. 1 minute and 31 seconds remaining on the second half of this double minor against Cape Breton, as they've quickly seen a 3-1 lead to start this period evaporate, with the visiting Vitos now up by a score of 4-3. Now trying to expand that lead and perhaps get an insurance marker here before the end of this man advantage. And they're finally starting to get their power play legs under them. Of course, with that power play goal coming from Livingston. Livingston has 2 today, and the league leading 14 on the season with his scoring today. Here's the shot in front. Good opportunity there from Jacob Greeley, but it goes high and wide. Here's the pass in front. Cutler trying to jam that one home, but couldn't quite do it as it's blocked by a Jet and shot down the ice to the Vito zone. 40 seconds left on this power play for St. John. That's off a stick, so icing is waved off. First one back, though, for the Jets is Francis McDonald. Francis McDonald is hounded by a trio of Vitos down in the corner with that man advantage, and they're going to come out with the puck here. Cutler has the puck uncontested behind the net, tries to find his teammate Arbo in front of the net, but the pass is wide, and it's going to be a foot race for the puck. The captain, Matt Phillips, is hot in pursuit. He's made a lot of noise here today on the penalty kill, scoring on the shorthanded opportunity in the second period. Francis McDonald makes the outlet pass. It hit an official there, but that will also do it for the Cape Breton Jets penalty kill. Although they gave up that goal in the first half of the double minor, they keep the puck out of the net in the second half, as now the Jets are the ones that have to try and fight their way back into this hockey game after a trio of very successive St. John Vitos goals. And that's what they do best. They score goals. They're the highest scoring team in the Nova Scotia Under-16 AAA Hockey League this year. They average 5 goals a game, and they have 4 this evening. Cutler gets it deep for St. John as the Vitos go for a change, and the Jets reset. They come the other way. Zach McIntyre for Cape Breton. He's going to dump that in. intended for teammate Cole Simmons on the other side playing the wing. Chipped on out, and just enough out of the zone as LeBlanc couldn't hold the line for Cape Breton. It's played back, and the pass is a bit errant as it rolls just wide of the goaltender. McIntyre goes for a skate. Held up at center ice there. Colton Butters will now initiate the dump and chase for his team. Playing the puck is Sutter McQuaid, but he gave it away. Here's a shot from the Jets, and it's a save by Luca Riva. A shot back down the other way. Icing is waved off, though. Swung back up the boards. The Jets try to clear out coming back the other way, but the Vito's forecheck is keeping them with their hands full. That's Alexander Daigla holding that puck along the boards for St. John as they get it deep. Good shift here from the depth forwards for St. John. While the Jets are also getting some opportunities down low, and Daigla throws a big hit, and he's going to get called for it. It's a charging penalty against Daigla, and the Cape Breton Jets will now go to the man advantage with 6:48 on the clock here. And this could be a game decider for the Cape Breton Jets if they want to crawl back in this one and force overtime at the very least. The Jets have one power play goal that came in the first off the stick of Hudson Crawley. That was the first goal of the hockey game. The Jets had the puck for a second, but it's quickly cleared out the other way by Tripp Livingston, who backhands it the length of the ice down the other way. There's an aggressive forecheck on the penalty kill there from Greeley. Now he gets pinned as a Jets player goes down. And a couple shots toward the ice as Greeley of the Vitos is left lying down with a group of Jets also there. That's taken 30 seconds off of the Jets power play. Players have been exchanging shots here on this shift. A few upset fans and players, but no additional calls thus far. As the Jets try to break into the St. John zone, but they've been struggling to approach the blue line, but now they've gotten in. Here will be a board battle. It's won back by Cape Breton. Back to the line for Colin McDonald. Over to McIntyre. Tries to get it deep. Travis Smith-McNeil of Cape Breton had the puck for a second, but it rolled over his stick, and the Vitos will send it down the other way with the penalty killers changing. 50 seconds left on this Cape Breton Jets power play. 5:35 left in the third period. The Vitos have broken out offensively in this third period, scoring a quick 3 goals in about a 2 to 3 minute span here after trailing 3-1 heading into this period. Trying to defend this lead with a quarter of the period left. Parker Lee. He's Cape Breton's leading scorer. He's going to swing in the other way. Try to attempt his pass over the other way. Here comes the shot. A grade A scoring opportunity for Crawley, but Luca Riva was all over him, and he'll force the Jets to retreat. Only 5 seconds left on this Jets power play. And now we're back to 5-on-5. The Vitos trying to go back to work on offense here, but the Jets might have another chance to head on down the ice here, but they got some tired players out. Jumping onto the ice here is Colton Jador. Jador is trying to cut in and hit one of his teammates over toward the goaltender crease area, but the Vitos will force Cape Breton back out of the zone. Trying to dump that back in, but they don't go very far as the Vitos defensemen take advantage and try to force the play the other way. Dumping that in is Luke Bellier for St. John, but coming all the way out of the net is Daniel Levat. Gets it up to his teammates there, up to the forwards. Andrew Penny going up along the right side, trying to force that puck in toward Luca Riva in net. Had the puck for a second and jumping off a fresh set of legs there. McDonald on the Cape Breton Jets blue line. Now down low toward the net. Colton Jador had some patience there as he tried to get the shot off, but he didn't get the puck where he wanted it. Jador will get the puck back once more, but only for a second as the Vitos again clear from the zone. 3.5 minutes left here in the third period. Vito's holding on by a goal. Kason Cooling is on the ice. He's going to play it up. Back down the other way by Cape Breton as there's a log jam here in the neutral zone and shot back the other way. But the goaltender is out of his net, so he's going to try and play that around. Daniel Levat has been very active in the Cape Breton net today. Not only making the saves, but making the plays. Briefly down in the Vito zone. Player chopped at Luca Riva. But the Jets will try back out the other way again, breaking down. And we're going to get a penalty here. The referee signals too many men and points at the Jets bench. So it appears the Jets are about to go short-handed here with 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock here in regulation, them being in need of a goal. That is an unfortunate penalty at this point of the game as Cape Breton's trying to crawl back in this one, but instead they'll have to not only fend off the Vito's power play, but try to get something going down there on the other end of the ice to try and tie this thing. It's a tie-up off the draw. The Jets will win it, though, and get it deep. Going to keep an eye on Levat in the Cape Breton net. See if he goes to the bench here in this one-goal game. St. John trying to remain undefeated in regulation, and even if the Jets do get a late one here, it appears it'll stay that way. Kason Cooling. His pass was lost in the feet of a Jets player. Down toward Livingston on the far side wall. Looks through his lane for his shot options. He's going to go in behind the back of the net, though, to Whitaker's teammate. He has a lane, and he steps in, and it's a seeing eye shot and a save for Levat. Down to 1:19 on this power play for the Vitos late in the game as they hold on to this lead. 2:09 left in regulation here. Face-off will come to the left of Levat. Top power play unit is out for St. John. So it's a tall order for these Jets penalty killers to both kill the penalty and try and get something going. But it is dumped down pretty near the length of the ice by Crawley. The killers that were there will stay on. Crawley, the first forechecker in. Trying to break it out is McQuaid for the Vitos. Livingston is forced to turn back, and now he'll turn up again, trying to get some offense going the other way. He has 2 today. He has the tying goal and the go-ahead goal for St. John this afternoon. The league's leading goal scorer, showing why he does it best here, remember, to this evening. Now down to 1:42 here in the third period. Face-off will come to the right of Levat in net. Levat's had a strong showing this afternoon. He has 30 saves so far. And that shot from Cooling goes wide. But the Vitos keep it in the zone on the attack, all the way back over to Cooling. Cooling stick handles, tries to find Livingston cross ice. He's going to step in, had the puck for a moment, but covering up is Levat. And St. John is really not giving Cape Breton much room to generate a clear or any momentum of any sort to try to get going here. With a goal needed with less than 100 seconds left in this hockey game. 35 seconds left on the power play for St. John. Here's the shot. The rebound almost trickled to Livingston, but it's turned away. The Jets only got it as far as the blue line, but not out. As Cooling fanned on the shot, trying to get that on net along the half wall, but instead is flicked down over into the corner. His teammate will try to kill some time here. 15 seconds left on the power play as Cape Breton finally jams it as far as the other half wall. It's kept in by Whitaker. And the Jets get possession here at center ice. Hudson Crawley had it for a second, but it got back up across the line there. We're down to 47 seconds in regulation as we're back to even strength. And with that cover up by Luca Riva, this is going to be a big face-off for the Cape Breton Jets to the left of the Vito's goaltender. Down by 1 goal with 41.8 seconds on the clock. And there goes Daniel Levat to the bench. for Cape Breton. It's going to be 6-on-5 with the empty net. The Jets trying to tie up this game late and force some overtime perhaps, but the faceoff is won by the Vitos, given away to the Jets. There was Phillips tried to get in down low. Now they got behind the net. Phillips is in front, and he couldn't quite get a clean shot off. He's joined down there by Travis Smith-McNeil as the Jets hang on to the puck. There's only 20 seconds left now. They got to do it quick. In front of the net was Phillips, but he couldn't get the shot, and that is shot down the length of the ice, but it will be an icing call with 9.5 seconds left on the clock. So one more opportunity here perhaps for Cape Breton to try and tie this thing, and for the Vitos to try and get out of member 2 with a close-fought win here this afternoon. They'll play in Port Hawkesbury against the Cabot Highlanders tomorrow, undergoing their Cape Breton road trip this weekend. You can catch that action here on High Button Sports. The face-off is won by the Vitos, and they will force it out of the zone. Icing is waved off, and that will do it here in member 2. A big third period for the St. John Vitos, coming in this one down 2. A near upset by the Jets, who put up a very strong effort at home this afternoon. But unfortunately for the home team, the losing streak will extend to 8. The Vitos, meanwhile, upgrade to 7-0-2 on the season. That will move them into first place in the Nova Scotia under-16 AAA standings. The St. John Vitos, thanks to 2 goals in the third period by Tripp Livingston, the highest scoring goal scorer in the league so far, 14 goals. He has the tying goal and the go-ahead goal only seconds apart here in member 2 in midway through the third period. A hard-fought win for the Vitos and a very exciting hockey game here in member 2. Thank you for joining us here at the High Button this evening here in member 2. My name is Luke Diamond. Glad you could join us here, and we hope to catch you next time here. Good night from the High Button in member 2.